Stop.
You heard that?
Yes, we all did.
This is the morning routine for former NFL defensive lineman Kevin Henry, crippled with pain from his time playing in the league.
My wife usually wakes me up. Then when I wake up, I'm usually throbbing, so she'll massage me for about an hour. Sometimes I stumble or I may even fall.
Henry and his wife Pam say life has become a constant struggle, marked by depression, memory loss, and bouts of anger. All symptoms associated with dementia-related illnesses, which Henry believes stem from repeated blows to the head.
Football doesn't give you an expiration date. You just expire. Both ankles, both knees, both elbows, both wrists, all my fingers have been broken. I've had 10 concussions or more. I've had at least 17 surgeries. 17. And I'm still getting them.
Did you feel like you had some sort of impairment from playing football?
Yeah. I'm not myself, friend. I'm not myself.
Henry was further devastated after his claim for compensation through the NFL's concussion settlement program was denied. Now, for the first time on camera with ABC News, Henry and another former player, Najeh Davenport, are talking about their lawsuit, accusing the NFL of avoiding paying head injury claims based on a formula that discriminates on race. That formula assumes that black players start at a lower cognitive level than white players. Critics say the practice, widely known as race norming, makes it harder for black players to qualify for compensation. The league calls the lawsuit entirely misguided.
I just want to be looked at the same way as a white guy. We bust chops together, bruh. It wasn't no white or black thing. We lost together, we won together.
For Henry, growing up in small-town Mississippi, the NFL was his ticket to success. After attending Mississippi State University, he was drafted in 1993 by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What was it like to play in the NFL?
It was hard, man. I ain't gonna even lie. It was easier to get there than to stay there. You have to do whatever it takes to stay healthy and stay on that field.
Keeping Henry in there for the injured Ray Seals. That's a good, clean hit.
Henry played for 8 seasons, making 14 career sacks, even going on to play in Super Bowl 30. But at the age of 33, the bright lights of the stadium and the roar of the crowds came to an end. And like many other former players, Henry struggled in retirement, battling what he suspected were the long-term effects of the concussions he sustained on the field.
I get a lot of headaches. Every morning I have a headache. It's just a number of things, man, that a player goes through, man, after football. Life after football is not fun. It's not fun.
Who wants to live like that? It's horrible. It's just sad to see. It just breaks my heart. It really does.
Unable to work and concerned about his family's financial future, Henry and his wife turned to the landmark 2013 NFL Concussion Settlement Program, which paid eligible former NFL players suffering from the lingering effects of multiple head injuries. In 2017, Henry went in to get a battery of tests to measure his cognitive functioning, assessing language, learning, and memory.
This doctor said that he believes that there is something going on and he was going to turn the report in. He was saying in so many words, there is something wrong.
A doctor determined that Henry was suffering from a cognitive decline consistent with mild dementia, and as part of the process, submitted a claim to a settlement administrator.
What was the result of the claim you filed?
I was denied.
The administrator rejected Henry's claim, questioning whether his performance on the tests were valid and asserting that the doctor, quote, used inappropriate norms. Henry's doctor did not use that race norming adjustment.
We're asked to function in our daily lives like normal human beings without any disruption and not be compensated for it.
2 years later, Henry says with his health worsening, he went in for another evaluation with a neuropsychologist. This clinician used that NFL-recommended formula that took into account, among other things, Henry's race. And this time, the neuropsychologist found that Henry didn't qualify at all.
Every time the ball is snapped, it's a car crash for me. And there's no white, black thing in that. They don't hit me less because I'm black or harder because I'm black. It's the same thing.
The NFL's confidential manual on the concussion settlement program recommends clinicians adjust test scores for factors like age, gender, education, and race. The so-called full demographic correction. It's a controversial practice known as race norming. In medicine, it's supposed to help doctors make better diagnoses by using race to make assumptions about a patient's background.
Race is just a bad proxy to use. It's too crude, it's too ill-defined, and it also has this history of being used for very abominable ends. I think we're in a period today where everyone is being called to take account of racism and to turn their practices into anti-racist practices. And so there's a reckoning in all professions, I think, and disciplines.
The NFL defends using the practice, saying it helps clinicians estimate how much damage has been done to a player's brain during their careers. The league says these adjustments, quote, were developed to correct rather than perpetrate racial bias in neuropsychological tests.
How did you react when you learned that there was a different standard being used for black players to get benefits as compared to white players?
I felt so betrayed, and I still feel that way. Two different systems? How can that be okay? White people should be upset too. Not just me, not just black people, because if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't like it.
The NFL points out the settlement was, quote, agreed to by all parties with the assistance of expert neuropsychological clinicians, and it relies on widely accepted and long-established testing and scoring methods. But critics say the use of race norming in the NFL settlement is neither necessary nor fair.
I did think that this was an especially egregious form of race correction because it plays on the idea that black people are naturally less intelligent than other people.
Do you think that you suffered cognitive impairment or cognitive decline as a result of playing football?
Yeah.
Najeh Davenport is a co-plaintiff with Henry in his lawsuit against the NFL. Davenport, a former NFL running back, played 7 seasons, mostly for the Green Bay Packers, before retiring in 2008 when he was 29 years old.
After the NFL, you were experiencing some memory loss and had some anger issues. How had you changed from when you were playing in the NFL to after?
I was never like a quick fighter. I think I was more like a happy-go-lucky guy. I was getting in trouble or getting in fights or getting in confrontations.
When Davenport learned there might be money available for treatment, he sought the help of Dr. Charles Golden, another neuropsychologist working with the NFL. Dr. Golden says he did not use the race-based demographic correction.
Was your understanding that the correction was required or that it was recommended?
No, it was, at least when they talked to me, it was clearly just recommended. When I was hired to do this, I asked them, I said, do I have to use a certain set of norms? And they said, basically, no, you have a choice, and it's up to your clinical decision.
In your expert opinion, does Najeh suffer from cognitive impairment?
Yes, he does. He qualified at level 1.5. It impairs his ability to concentrate, to think. It impairs his social ability to interact with other people. And that has the secondary effect of leading to things like irritability and anger and depression.
The settlement administrator approved Dr. Golden's conclusions, but the league appealed.
They said, why didn't you use the black norms? And I wrote back, basically, I didn't use the black norms because I thought it was unfair to apply one set of norms to one of the player groups and another set of norms to another group of players.
In response to questions from ABC News, the NFL said that it does not play a role in independent clinicians' examinations, and the league does not require clinicians to adjust for race. and any corrections are left up to the sound discretion of the clinicians. Golden says he did use his professional discretion, but was rejected anyway. Still, he believes he did the right thing.
I wouldn't cheat on the criteria that they had. We followed them.
The NFL said in its appeal, quote, Davenport's functional impairment may be the result of factors other than cognitive loss, and claimed that Dr. Golden calculated Davenport's test scores with improper demographic norm adjustments.
That's literally the definition of systematic racism with this race norm and stuff.
I don't know if it was intentional, but I think there were people who were aware, likely, that if you use the black norms, black players would be less likely to qualify. I think they would justify that in their defense, that they would argue that those were more accurate scores. In my view, the brain functions the same in all of us.
In raising his concerns about the use of race norming, Dr. Golden is not alone. Coming up next, the emails ABC News obtained from clinicians who evaluate NFL players, regretting what one calls their culpability in a racially discriminatory system.
I'm looked at differently, and it pisses me off.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.